right, here it is, something I have been super excited for a while, and I finally grabbed one. Toy Jojo got an early shipment in at their store and said, hey, we got some left over, so I jumped at the chance to get one. As soon as I saw they still had some left, because I missed a lot of the pre-orders on this guy. But it's Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime, and it is a fantastic, fantastic figure, as everybody else has been reporting. Not 100% perfect. I have a few little nitpicks, but nothing major. It's a really nice looking Optimus. You see here he is in truck mode. He's got a nice pivot all the way to the side there where the trailer plugs in. It rolls freely, very nicely. A nice little cab, nice little trailer. Real quick, as a comparison, here he is with the Earthrise Optimus. You can see Earthrise Optimus cab and trailer is about as long as just the Studio Series trailer. This is still a very fine Optimus. Like, I hadn't played with it in a while, and I saw a lot of talk online about, oh, is this Studio Series better than Earthrise? I'm like, of course it is. Look at it. And like, I got the Earthrise figure out and played with it. I mean, it's still a really solid, nice representation of Optimus Prime. It's cheaper for certain. But yeah, this is still a very solid Optimus Prime figure. Here, but just for comparison, just want to show them off. And of course, the Studio Series had, not the Studio Series, the Earthrise, had a very basic trailer, but did have the drill drone that could pop up and come off and all that good stuff. Wheels, little support beam here. On to the Studio Series. You see a much larger trailer. Has storage inside. We'll go ahead and pop it off. Has a little pivot here. You can, when it's not attached, you can support it. It also has, if you want to open it up, it has some little beams that fold out, and then the end rotates down to support the open trailer. This one, you do have to make sure to pop open this first, because if you try to open it without pulling the rear gate down, it will get stuck. And inside, there is storage for both of his laser blasts. There is a little warping there. It's not a very strong plastic. I haven't tried straightening yet, but even when I've gotten it a little straight, it's warped a little bit. His axe, his rifle can all store in here. Roller, which I really, really like this because there's a way to store roller. There's a couple little tabs here on the base of the drone that can slot into roller. So instead of just rolling freely loose in the trailer, you can kind of plug him in there. Maybe he's charging, I don't know what, but keeps it from rolling around in there and flying out when you're in the thing. But this can come up, and you can bring the arm up and around. Claw opens and closes. This little thing. So it doesn't spin like on the old toy. The canopy here does open. You could probably fit like a Diaclone pilot in there. It might be small enough for that, but it's a very tiny cockpit there. Roller, again, rolls pretty freely, which is nice. And also has some little seats in here. You could put a, this is Prima, I think. It's not Prime, but Prime Masters, Headmasters can kind of sit, kind of have to angle them just right because of that little tip on the foot. But you can get some Prime Masters and such to sit in Roller. There's 4 seats. 2 in the front face forward, 2 in the back have to face back the way they're cut out. But yeah, you can give a little Prime Master or Headmaster rides in Roller. Reattach all this stuff. We'll go ahead and get all of these weapon pieces out. There's little peg holes in each of the things that peg on. The axe can store on either side. The gun can store on either side. This little cutout in the gun stores on this little peg here. You'll see it when I lift this up. There's one up here too. I'll go ahead and pull Roller out. I guess you don't need to pull Roller out really. Just leave Roller attached. But also you can fold, you can fit other cars in there. Obviously without Roller you can fit some larger cars in there, but since we're doing Studio Series Bumblebee can roll up in there and fit inside the trailer as well. In the back of the trailer, go ahead and close this all back up, but again, even when it's closed, Bumblebee can roll up in there and be in Optimus Prime's trailer. In the back, there is a very specific storage space here to hold the last of the effects. So you pop this, the trailer kind of pops off back here. There we go. And then stores these little blast off pieces that fit together like this. They're specially cut out to fit together. And you can do the one scene, like the 2-second clip of him blasting up in his truck mode to do the leap. And scene in the movie when he blasts up. Personally, I think it's neat that they give you the ability to do this. They reference the scene from Transformers the movie right here on the front of the box. It's got him blasting up and doing the gun leap. It's a cool move. It looks great in animation. As a still shot here with these blast effects, when it's not in motion, it's not, to me, as impressive. And this is literally like half a second, if that, of animation that we've got dedicated blast effects for. I would rather have that budget had gone to painting the inside of his Matrix chamber. The lack of paint inside there is one of the very minor issues. I think somebody said that that's made out of the plastic that doesn't take paint very well, which makes sense. It's not a huge deal, but just, I admire the dedication for doing this. It just seems a little silly to me. Again, in the context of a physical toy to be stuck in that frame forever. In the cartoon or in the movie, I thought it was a really cool shot. It was a really cool sequence. Just a little off here as a fixed pose. But yeah, you can store those in the back here, and then they pop apart for easier storage. You just kind of throw them in there, and there's plenty of room left over. You can probably store something else in there if you wanted to. I tried to fit all the, I had the Prime Masters. I got all the 13 Prime Masters out, and I was hoping I could fit all 13 of them in there just to have regular passengers for Roller, but alas, I could only get about 9 of them in there. I guess I could have put the other 4 sitting in Roller, but then they'd rattle around the trailer. Anyway, that's my story of things you can stick in the back of Optimus Prime. That's going to be taken out of context somewhere. Moving on, let's go ahead and take the trailer and set that off to the side. Again, you can do the whole thing where it opens up and stands up here with the drone and all that stuff, but it's just the trailer stood on it. Like, I appreciate that they gave us a trailer that fits with him for truck mode. It looks cool. It recreates some scenes from the movie, but like, the real star of the show is the cab. Put that, the trailer's probably going to go somewhere where I can get to it easy if I want to display him in vehicle mode, but will likely stay in just in the storage place somewhere. Now here are the cabs side by side, and you can see there's a size difference between him and the Earthrise version. Earthrise does store the gun a little more compactly here on the back of the cab. It does kind of stick up on the top, but it kind of plugs in there between the two, between his arms. It kind of fills in that space and is not as egregiously obvious as, why isn't it sticking straight? There we go. As the Studio Series. The Studio Series just takes this part of the gun handle and it kind of squeezes it into this square here like this. You just kind of push that in there and the gun just kind of stores sticking straight off the back of the cab. You just want to take Prime in his gun somewhere, easy peasy, you can do it. But it's just kind of friction and held in there, so it's not difficult to knock it out, especially with the leverage right there. You just saw it kind of pop out because of the pressure. But you can store it on the cab if you don't want to carry the whole trailer around. And again, this is still a little obvious for a gun on the back of the cab, but not as obvious as that. But side by side, you can see that it's a much smoother animation looking cab. It doesn't have all the greebles and detail that the Earthrise does, but the Earthrise is still a very nice, square, solid cab. And like I said, it's still a decent version of Optimus. This one just feels like the Optimus I grew up with, which is really cool to have it without paying the premium of the Masterpiece. There are obviously benefits to the Masterpiece. We'll get to those later in the video, but I'm really happy with this. So yeah, there's the two cabs side by side. And now let's go ahead and turn him into a robot, because again, this is a really, people ask, is this better than the Masterpiece? And like, that's, really subjective on how you determine that. Because as a straight up, this is a toy I can pick up, I can play with, I don't have to stress out about too much. Like, I'm not worried about like clearances really on, like, and really I'm not worried about clearances on this version. I'm not worried about chipping paint. I'm not worried about scratching it. I mean, you could still scratch it. I mean, like, I don't like to scratch any of my toys, but like, I don't have that fear of handling it the way I do with the MP. And not even really fear. It's just, it takes a lot of some of the really neat ideas that the Masterpiece had and kind of refines them and distills them down into a retail toy that's more, I don't want to say fun, because like there's you can have fun with the MP44. It's a very involved transformation, and that's part of what's intriguing about Transformers is how they change. I just think it distills a lot of it into a smoothness. It's a lot more fun to just pick up and play with. It's easier. You can convert it a lot faster. It's just a lot of fun. Anyway, let's get right to it. So here's the cab. Right here, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a hollow back here, but nothing too egregious. But a nice square cab. Mine seems to tilt just a smidge forward, and I can't tell if it's my perception or if the front of the cab actually is leaned just a little bit forward, but I can't figure out. Everything is right. There's nothing else I can do with the legs. There's no bend to it, so I'm not very sure if I'm missing some minor little detail. But anyway, here it is. And one of the things too, apparently the heel pieces were misassembled. I've seen a lot of reports of that, and basically all that happens is like they were swapped side to side, but because of the way they fit in, they were just flipped over upside down, which means the gray and the red are still in the same position in both modes. The only difference is here in vehicle mode, if you look at it from the top, if they're flipped, instead of seeing these two long rectangles here, you would see this kind of this detailing here on the piece, which to me doesn't seem like the end of the world. This piece is an insert into this, so this is smoother, but if you don't have the ability to fix it easily, and because you have to knock out a pin to get it, and the burl is on the inside, you have to knock it out from the outside of the heel. I wouldn't risk it. Don't risk damaging. I did it first thing because I have a tool that works for it. It's not the best tool for it. I've seen some people with a kind of a vice grip that kind of just slowly squeezes the pin out. That's probably safer. But if you don't feel comfortable pulling a pin and swapping it, don't risk damaging your toy, because it really isn't the end of the world when all is said and done. But anyway, that said, let's go ahead and transform. So we'll kind of pop them up like this to untab these pieces, and we'll flip those down onto the back of the leg. And then we will take this piece right here, I'll take the wheels, flip them around into the leg like that. Then this piece rotates down, this piece rotates around, and then this slides up in and completes the leg like that. That's really smooth. It doesn't take as much of the side of the cab off into the leg that the Masterpiece does, which is simplified, but also a lot, it's just smoother. It's a nicer process, and you don't have to worry about how to fold up and get everything from the cab. And this little tab angled piece right here that sits behind the wheel up here, there's a slot for it here on the leg. So you just make sure that lines up and it just slides right in there like that. And there you go. There's your legs. You can go ahead and separate them like this, open up the feet, and then once the feet are open, these little tabs that lock the legs together can close up. And there is a little, right at the edge, there is a little groove for a fingernail when you got to get these back out. So very easy to flip those back out when you're transforming to vehicle mode. But come down here, you can see they're the front of the legs, and they don't look great right now, but you take this panel right here, and it flips up and rotates around, closes over the front of the leg, and then you're pretty much done with the legs themselves here. You can unpeg these kind of snap into place for vehicle mode, but if you unpeg them, you heard them unpeg right there. Now you got some ankle tilt in the feet. For the and then the cab, we'll go ahead and come up here. You can, right here, this piece has some little tabs that go in the wheels, so just kind of pull the wheels out a little bit to open up this little panel right here. You can go ahead and bring the legs down if you want, and then fold these little back panels down. This piece will flip up, but we'll do that later in the process. And then on the side of the panel, you do see, this is similar to the transformation on the MP where this whole side panel would come down, but it all stays on the cab this time. So you fold this down and around to the wheel, and then fold that panel forward. Same over here. Once that's done, you can start kind of really where you want to go. I rotate these in like this. You want to get these out of the way because they hang down just below this piece that rotates, and you want to get them out of the way for that. Then you pop the hands off because they're tabbed onto the cab right here. There we go. Get those going. Lift them up like that. This whole front piece can kind of come down, and it helps to bring it down first. And then you can pull this grate out, and you can see the hinge right there. Fold that up, and then this piece right here, kind of bring it down like this. Lift these side panels up. Lift the arms up like this. Get them out of the way here. You can bring them forward if you want, but just get them out of the way and lift these panels up. Lift this up, pull this, open these panels right here to the side, and then fold this panel down to form his waist plate. And then technically you're just supposed to swing this whole middle section around, but it's way easier to just kind of take the hips, rotate them around at the hips first, and then rotate the whole thing around like that, so it all lines up in the front. You can go ahead and then take these panels and fold them back down to fold the torso in. And then back here, this piece folds back up. These panels right here fold forward. You can do it before or after, but they're going to fold forward and they're going to fill in this gap right here. But this is going to come up. These panels continue to fold all the way around to the back. Again, go ahead and fold these side panels in like that. This piece is going to come down and kind of, it's on a dual hinge, but it's going to fold down and kind of lock over these to lock them in place like that. So there's the backpack all folded up like this. This piece folds up here like that, and it's going to fold in. It's going to rotate in for the head. Right here, the last bit of this, when I go, you kind of have to, going this way is okay. This piece, you want to leave this all the way folded up because it's going to slide in there. When I go to vehicle mode, this piece is a little hard to get that last little millimeter or centimeter or so. You really kind of have to push right here until it clicks into place. And the first time you do it, it's a little scary. But you see this will fold up and sit on this tab, and you can rotate this whole piece around to bring his head up. His antenna can fold back because they're folded in a little bit. Then this whole assembly, this slot in the back of his head, this little tab on the backpack is going to fold up and tab into that. And then this black piece, back blue piece, comes up to fold the back of his waist. You bring the arms down, you rotate them around, bring them down like this, and then you rotate the whole thing around so the elbow gap is actually on the back. And once that's done, you can go ahead and rotate those smokestacks back up. And then you open up the fist. Actually, let's do this one first because you can see there's a peg there. You can do it on either arm. We'll go ahead and flip his fist out and slide his fingers out. They're articulated. These fingers, and then another hinge right there. But we'll close that up. There's hands, but on this peg, of course, you saw we have the axe, and you can give him his axe hand there on either arm in robot mode. We'll go ahead and come here. Open up that, flip out his last hand. Open up his fingers. And again, he's got posable fingers. He does have a 5mm peg there in his hand, which can hold his rifle. And there is Studio Series Optimus in robot mode. He's fantastic. He looks like a cartoon. He's smooth. He's nice. These windows, the front windows, I was worried were maybe a little glaring in a lot of photos, but like they look really nice under natural light. When you're shooting, like if you have a flash photography or you're like shining like under these review lights, the metallic paint here behind the windows looks almost too bright. It looks really nice in natural lighting. But yeah, he does have a bit of a backpack, but it's not egregious. It's not as smooth as this Earthrise, but we'll compare those here in a second. But he's got a ball joint at the head. It's a little limited because of the shape of his helmet, but nothing bad. He can look all around. He's got dual hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, elbows, wrist swivel. You saw the posable fingers. He's got waist swivel. Each of these panels is a separate piece. They move together because they're tight, but they are separate pieces. You don't have to have them move together. Same on the back. He's He's got the dual hinge hips, thigh swivel, past 90-degree knees, and some ankle tilt, and a little bit of toe articulation as well. So very posable. He can do the leap that everybody's already done the picture of him jumping and leaping like in the box art and from the movie. But yeah, just a really nice Optimus Prime. You can open up his chest. He's got the matrix chamber. And again, like I said, there's no paint in there. He does have a removable matrix. He can hold it. I'm pretty sure it's the same matrix piece we've been getting for several lines now. But he can store that, pull that down, and there is Optimus in robot mode. Really, just really fantastic. I'm really, really happy with this one. I mentioned, well, let's go ahead for Studio Series. Since he just came out, here he is with Bumblebee. So they're ready to go hunt some Decepticons together and protect Earth. Here he is with the Earthrise Optimus. And again, like you can see Earthrise Optimus's legs are almost as tall as his to the waist. He's a little skinnier proportioned. His gun's a little chunkier. And again, the backpack does not stick out quite as much on the Earthrise, but he does have the big wheels kind of sitting there on his back. So, your mileage may vary depending on what you prefer. This is still a really, really nice representation of Optimus Prime. Not dissonant. Like, I think the Studio Series is miles better. It costs more, and it's had more time to bake with years of benefit of engineering. But yeah, if you like the Earthrise Prime, there's nothing wrong with that. It's still a very solid figure. We talked about that on Twitter with a few people. This is just a really, really nice figure. He does have, like you said, he has the 2 blast effects, which either one of which can attach to the end of his gun. They are like Magmatron's sword. They're a little soft. They get a little droopy, but if you want to give them a blast effect, you can. And of course, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't compare him to the MP, the Masterpiece, which is, as you can see, much larger. They're both kind of animation accurate depending on which scene you're watching. They both feel very cartoony in hand. I'll just lean a little bit. Obviously, the Masterpiece has a shinier paint job, is a little bit more detailed. The transformation's more involved. I like how smooth the legs are here versus the way... I love the engineering on the Masterpiece, but I've never really liked how these kneecaps end up sitting on his legs. I can never get them to quite sit exactly aligned the way I want them to. So yeah, there are some trade-offs for being an $80, $90 Commander class retail figure versus a $200 some odd dollar Masterpiece figure. But yeah, I think if you're not willing to spend on the MP, or you just want something that like you've got no problem picking up and playing with. I love posing the MP44. I think it looks impressive on the shelf. Every now and then, like I actually have a KO version of it as well in my office that I can play with. That if it breaks, okay, oh well. Like it's not my official MP44. And I haven't had any issues with it breaking. Once you know where everything goes, it doesn't seem scary. It's just a lot, and it takes a while to get done. Whereas this can be done very easily, very simply. I would have no problem just picking him up and taking him to work with me, or taking him somewhere to show him off. Whereas with the Masterpiece, I'm like, that one kind of stays on the shelf, gets posed, looks good. It's a nice display piece, but it's not a carry around with me, mess around with toy. Some people may treat it as such, and that's fine. That's up to them. But I just feel like if I want to carry around a really cool cartoon-looking Optimus Prime, I'm going for the Studio Series because it really is just fantastic, and I'm super stoked to have it. So yeah, it looks like I said, I got mine from Toy Dojo. You can still pre-order them at TF Source. I think they still have some pre-orders open. A lot of people who ordered on Amazon, which sadly I didn't get in, but it looks like Amazon is starting to ship them now. Some people are getting him tomorrow. As of the time I shoot this, it's Wednesday night. This will probably go up Friday. Some people are getting a Monday. They're all moving up. The Bumblebee, the Reactivate Bumblebee single pack, I just got a shipping notice for this morning, so it should be here Friday. So that's coming. We got the Iron Factory, the last 3 Iron Factory Lio Kaiser figures, the 2 jets and the helicopter. They will be coming soon. I've got a few Studio Series pre-ordered. I'm trying to think of what I've still got coming Transformers wise. What I'm expecting between now and the end of the year. I've got the G1 Optimus. That'll probably show up here soon too. The very small Legacy G1 Universe Optimus Prime. That's even smaller than the G1 Optimus Prime in robot mode, which surprises me. But hey, you know what? It still looks like it's going to be fun. But anyway, there is Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. He is absolutely amazing. If you're still waiting on yours to arrive, you're going to be happy. It's a really nice figure. If you haven't pre-ordered it yet, keep an eye out for places that still have it, because it is, I think GameStop may even have still had some pre-orders available the other day when I was looking. If you get a chance to pick him up and you're on the fence, he's worth picking up. It's that simple. But yeah, there is Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime Commander Class. Just super awesome, and I'm very happy to have him.